Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I'm also known as the Financial Bunny. I'm coming to you today to actually give you one of the first and maybe the only financial motivational video that I will ever do, because I don't like motivation. I think motivation is silly, but whatever. Today we're doing financial motivation. Now remember that everything that I say here is not financial advice. It does everything I say here does not constitute as financial advice. Rather, it is financial coaching. And if you're looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. So one of the things that I read the other day is don't chase money, become a magnet of money. And I was like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. Because I think most of us are continuing to chase money. We're looking for the next available opportunity to make money. And we forget the one thing: people invest and pay for value. So if you become more valuable, people will pay for you. And this actually, and I don't know how I didn't figure this out earlier. And I don't know why I have not even had this conversation with you guys earlier than now, right? The other day, I found myself standing in a queue outside Louis Vuitton for almost 2 hours. So I went to Sandton City with my cousin, and we actually went there to deliver books. And I was traveling that same day to go on holiday, right? When I was there at Clifftop. And I said to my cousin, I need new slops, and I'd like Louis Vuitton slops. So we go there, and there's a queue outside Louis Vuitton, and I'm like, hey, Banna, queue go Louis Vuitton. And I mean, at the very least, Louis Vuitton can really try and give us some champagne while we're standing in the queue, put some chairs outside. I mean, at the prices we're paying inside Louis Vuitton, it's the least that you guys can do. I'm just saying, right? Anyway, so we step out, we go to Gucci first. I buy a bucket hat at Gucci. We come out, we get back into the line at Louis Vuitton. And this line is not moving. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I realized something. The Louis Vuitton brand, like any other brand, because Louis Vuitton doesn't do shoes different from anybody else. Let's just have a fair conversation. A sneaker is a sneaker is a sneaker. A lingapsi is a lingapsi is a lingapsi. There's no difference really, other than the fact that it's branded Louis Vuitton, other than the fact that it will be branded Gucci, other than the fact that it will be branded Mr. Price, other than the fact that it will be branded Zara. So technically, statulo is statulo, right? But however, these guys have worked so hard to tell us that the Louis Vuitton brand is valuable. So we are even willing to stand in a queue for 2 hours to spend our money, because we assume that the brand is valuable. And that is exactly what money is all about. Money is about how much value do you have, and can you give to the next person that when they part with however much money they're parting with, they don't feel cheated. So I always say to people, it is important then to ensure that you as an asset, because if there is any asset you can control, you are the only asset you really can control. Can you control the stock market? Technically, no. Can you control the real estate market? Technically, no. Can you control cash and currency? Technically, no. Can you control interest rates so that retail and government bonds work in your favor? Technically, no. Can you really control the demand and supply so that commodities are priced the way you want them? Technically, no. But can you control Nicolette and the value that Nicolette gives? That is a definite yes. So how do I add value to Nicolette? I add value, number one, by going to school. And if I don't go to formal school, then I go to informal school. Then I go to the school of hard knocks. In actual fact, I had a 1 hour conversation with this friend of mine, and she works in the medical supplies industry. And the other day she came to me and she said to me, Nicolette, I've got this big contract. I need this amount of money. Can you help me out? And I was like, sure, friend. And then I thought about it this morning. And I was explaining to her about this idea of value and how important value is. That sometimes we forget what value is. Because if I was another person, I would look at her work and think, I can do this job. Clearly, the only missing link here is money. Because she doesn't have the money to do this. It means that if I come with my money, it's easy, Mos. I get a contract, I look for the supplies that are needed, I supply, and that's it. But that is the incorrect way to look at things, because what I'm forgetting is the value that she brings to the entire process, the entire contract, the entire sales transaction. She has the expertise of medical supplies that I will never have. She has the knowledge of pricing that I will never have. She has the knowledge of sourcing that I will never have, because it's just not my industry. So when you look at the medical supplies industry, I'm not valuable at all. So how then can I step into the medical field and the medical supplies industry and expect to charge the same price that she charges when I have zero expertise, zero experience, and quite frankly, I don't actually understand how it works. Although from the outside, I can sit and say, this is easy. Same way people will say, but what Nicolette does is very easy. She just goes on the internet, reads about these things, comes and regurgitates it to us. The reality is I spend hours and hours and hours trying to understand some of the financial terms, trying to understand how it works, trying to understand market conditions. Sometimes I fail. And that's the reality of life. But for you to become more, and I don't only do it in finance. Remember, I have to become better at speaking. I have to become better at language. I have to become better at phonetics. I have to become better at grammar. I have to become better in front of the camera for me to be able to deliver what I do. So that is how I make myself valuable. And also the value that I put in exchange is exactly what clients are willing to pay me. So I want to remind you, do not chase the money, but rather become a magnet of money. And the best way for you to be able to do this is by simply becoming more valuable. I always say, take an example of two people. Two people who both walk in and actually, let's say for instance, they interview for supervisor in an engineering project or project manager of an engineering project. The reality is the employer or the hiring manager is going to look where is the most value that we can get. And the value is from the person who went to school or the person who's got some sort of experience, some sort of education. And remember, education doesn't only come from a degree. Sometimes education comes from working, being in the space, speaking to the right people, making sure that you network with the right people, making sure that you get doors opened by the right people. And I'm not saying it's easy. However, there's a gentleman who ended up going to the Olympics simply because he learned how to throw discus off YouTube. So I'm going to remind you, if you are starting off, don't chase the money, but become a money magnet by ensuring that you become a valuable asset. That even when they are in boardrooms and they are thinking about somebody who can do the job, your name is always top of mind. I hope this has motivated you in some way, that when we go into 2021, you are feeling energetic, you are feeling energized, and you are ready to take on the year. COVID-19 2020 has not been a great year for all of us. However, we can turn this thing on its head. We will become spin doctors and we will spin the story of 2020. Mwah!